To another big story this morning. For the first time in U.S. history, a former president is now a convicted felon. A Manhattan jury found Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records. Trump's lawyers now say they will appeal.
And perhaps no surprise, both Republicans and Democrats using this guilty verdict to try to gain support as Election Day draws closer. ABC's Perry Russum has more.
Former President Trump defiant in the face of his felony conviction.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
After becoming the first former U.S. president convicted on criminal charges, Trump heading to a fundraiser in New York City.
Never surrender!
His campaign says their fundraising website was overwhelmed with donations, causing the site to crash. Democrats also looking to cash in. President Biden posting a link to his fundraising website minutes after the verdict. There were celebrations outside the courthouse as Trump was found guilty on all 34 felony charges in his hush money trial over payments made to former adult film actress Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election.
While this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors.
Reaction coming in from leaders on Capitol Hill.
I said from the beginning that even the charges were a partisan exercise by a Democratic district attorney.
This is an affirmation that the rule of law works, that it can be applied to everyone, including a former president.
Trump's attorney on CNN saying they will appeal the conviction.
At the end of the day, there were key decisions made before the trial started and during the trial that I don't want to use a fair or unfair, but that we think were not consistent with the law.
Trump is scheduled to be sentenced on July 11th, just days before the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Trump is scheduled to have a news conference later this morning. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
This case accounts for 34 of 88 criminal charges brought against Donald Trump in 4 cases. Special counsel Jack Smith charged Trump with 4 counts in Washington, D.C. over his alleged efforts to undermine the results of the 2020 election. A judge scrapped a March trial date as the Supreme Court now considers Trump's presidential immunity claim. Smith also charged Trump with 40 counts in Florida for his supposed mishandling of classified documents after he left office. Just this week, the judge rejected a request for a gag order in the case. No trial date is set. Trump and 14 others also face state charges in Fulton County, Georgia, for their alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election results. There's also no trial date in this case. As we mentioned earlier, the big question now is how will former President Trump's guilty verdict impact the November presidential election? Well, coming up at 6:30, we'll talk with a political science professor to find out what we can expect.